Let me say something that might feel a little uncomfortable, but you need to hear it. June isn't confusing you, it's exposing you. Because if you've been feeling like things are off, like you can't ignore certain thoughts anymore, like you're suddenly seeing situations, people, or patterns more clearly, that's not things getting messy. That's clarity coming in. And the reason it feels uncomfortable is because you can't unsee it. This month is governed by Energy Body 6. Your intuitive body. And what that means is your inner voice, the one you've been overriding, second guessing or ignoring, is getting louder. Not louder in noise, but louder in truth. You're going to notice things faster, feel misalignment quicker, recognize where things just doesn't sit right anymore. And in a universal year one, where everything is about stepping into a new identity, making aligned decisions and actually leading your life, this isn't random. This is necessary. Because you cannot build a new version of yourself while still ignoring what you know isn't right. So if you've been sitting there thinking, why does everything feel so intense right now? Why can't I just go back to how things were? Why do I suddenly feel like I need to make changes? It's because you're being asked to. Not forced, not rushed, but invited to step into a version of yourself that doesn't ignore truth, just to stay comfortable. If you're new here, hi, I'm Cherry. I'm a spiritual life coach, numerologist, and energy alchemist. And on this channel, we don't just talk about what's happening energetically. We break down what it actually means for you and how to move with it so you don't stay stuck. So before we go any deeper, if you're ready to stop second guessing yourself, trust in your intuition and actually start making aligned decisions, hit subscribe and tap the notification bell and join this space. Because this isn't just guidance. This is where you start leading your own life. Now, let's get into what June is really here to show you. Because now we expand your awareness beyond just me and how my feelings into, oh, this is actually the energy I'm moving through. So let's break down what actually is happening in June. Because once you understand this, a lot of what you've been feeling is going to make a lot more sense. We are in a universal year one, which means this entire year is about new beginnings. New identity, new decisions. This is not a maintenance year. This is not a stay where you are and tweak things slightly kind of energy. This is a reset, a clean slate, a moment where life is asking you, are you going to keep being who you've always been, or are you actually ready to step into something new? And that question follows you through the whole year. But each month activates a different part of that process. And June is where it gets real. Because June is governed by Energy Body 6, your intuitive body. Which means this month is not about gathering more information. It's about recognizing truth. Your truth, not what makes sense on paper, not what other people expect, and not what feels easiest, but what actually is aligned for you. And here's the thing about intuition. It doesn't wait until you're ready. It shows you what you need to see when you need to see it. So what you might notice this month is things feeling clearer, but also harder to ignore. Situations that used to feel fine suddenly don't. Conversations that don't sit right anymore. A stronger awareness of where you're out of alignment. And that can feel uncomfortable because clarity doesn't always feel peaceful at first. Sometimes clarity feels like disruption. Like, I can't keep doing this. This isn't working for me anymore. I need to make a change. And your first instinct might be to question it, to soften it, to ignore it, to tell yourself you're overthinking. But you're not. You're noticing. And there's a difference. This is the shift from unconscious living to conscious awareness, from reacting to recognizing. And this is exactly what Energy Body 6 is designed for. It sharpens your perception. It heightens your awareness. It allows you to see what's real without the distortion of fear, conditioning, or other people's expectations. But here's where people get struck. They receive the clarity, but they don't act on it. They see what needs to change, but they delay it. They feel the misalignment, but they stay where they are because it's familiar. And this is where June will start to feel frustrating if you're not moving with it. Because the more you ignore your intuition, the louder the discomfort becomes. Not to punish you, but to get your attention. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? I want you to start asking, what is this showing me? Because June isn't here to confuse you. It's here to wake you up to what you already know. Yes, this is where it gets a bit personal. So let's talk about what this actually looks like in your real life, because this isn't just energy in the air. This is going to show up in every specific, very noticeable ways. The first thing you're likely going to experience is sudden clarity. Not gradual, not something you slowly figure out over time, sudden, like you're in a situation, a conversation, or even just sitting with yourself and something clicks. You see it differently. You realize this isn't right for me now. This isn't right for me. I've been ignoring this. I don't actually want this anymore. And it can feel almost jarring because it's not new information. It's something you've known for a while. You're just not able to ignore it anymore. The second thing is heightened sensitivity to misalignment. Things that you used to tolerate, you won't be able to. Energy that felt manageable before now feels draining. Conversations that you used to go along with, now they feel forced. And this is where people start to panic a bit. They think, why am I suddenly so sensitive? Why can't I just be easygoing like before? Why does everything feel like too much? But this isn't you becoming too much. This is you becoming more aware. Your tolerance for misalignment is decreasing. And that's a good thing. The third thing is a pull towards change. And this is where it gets uncomfortable because it's not just awareness, it's direction. You might feel a need to set boundaries, a desire to step back from certain people, and knowing that something in your life needs to shift. And your mind will try to talk you out of it. It'll say, don't rush. Maybe you're overthinking. What if this is the wrong decision? But again, this isn't random. This is your intuition trying to move you into alignment. And here's the part I want you to really hear. You're not losing interest. You're not being difficult. You're not changing for no reason. You're waking up to what no longer fits. And once you see that, you have a choice. You either honor it or you try to shrink yourself back into something that already feels wrong. And let's be honest, you've tried that before. You've tried staying, adjusting, compromising, telling yourself it's fine when it isn't. And how did that feel? Exactly. So if this month is bringing things up for you, if you're feeling that internal shift, that discomfort, that clarity, I don't want you to panic. I want you to recognize it because this isn't your life falling apart. This is your life trying to come into alignment. And the more you allow yourself to see it, the easier it becomes to move with it. So now we go into the part most people avoid because it's easy to listen to guidance and think, yep, that makes sense, but then go right back into old patterns. So now let's talk about the part no one really wants to look at, because as powerful as this energy is, there's also a shadow side to it. And if you're not aware of it, you'll stay stuck while convincing yourself you're processing. This is where people start to spiritualize their avoidance. They'll feel the clarity, they'll recognize the misalignment, they'll know something needs to change. And then instead of acting on it, they say things like, I just need more time. I'm still figuring it out. I want to be sure before I make a move. And on the surface, that sounds responsible. But let's be honest, most of the time, it's not discernment, it's delay. Because you already know, you've already felt it. You've already had that moment where something clicked and you went, yep, this isn't right. But instead of trusting that, you go back into your mind. You start analysing it, questioning it, looking for reasons to stay where you are. And this is where Energy Body 6 gets blocked. Not because your intuition isn't working, but because you're choosing not to follow it. And the longer you do that, the more uncomfortable things start to feel. You might notice more frustration, more emotional tension, more confusion creeping back in. And it's not because things are unclear. It's because you're ignoring what's already clear. And here's where I'm going to call you out a little bit. You don't need more clarity. You need more courage, because clarity without action changes nothing. And this is where the year one energy really comes in, because this year is not here to hold your hand while you stay the same. It's here to push you into a new identity. And that means letting go of the version of you who avoids discomfort, waits for perfect certainty, prioritizes being light over being aligned. So if you find yourself this month overthinking more than usual, going back and forth on decisions, telling yourself you're not ready yet, I want you to pause and really ask yourself, am I genuinely unsure? Or am I avoiding what I already know? Because that answer changes everything. And this is where the work is. Not in getting more signs, not in waiting for confirmation, but in being honest enough with yourself to admit, I already know what needs to happen. I'm just not doing it yet. And once you see that, you can't unsee it, which means you also can't keep pretending you're not stuck. You're just at a decision point. So now that we've looked at the shadow, the avoidance, the overthinking and the delay, let's talk about what actually becomes available to you this month if you choose to move differently. Because June isn't here to expose things. It's here to upgrade you. And the upgrade is this: you stop doubting yourself and start trusting your own voice. Not occasionally, not when it feels easy, but consistently. This is where you move from "I don't know what to do" to "I already know, I just need to follow it." And that shift alone changes everything. Because when you start trusting your intuition, you stop second guessing every decision, looking for constant reassurance, waiting for other people to validate your choices. And instead you start moving with clarity. Not perfect clarity, but enough. Enough to take the next step. Enough to make a decision. Enough to move forward. And that's how momentum builds. The second upgrade is discernment. Not everything deserves your energy. Not everyone deserves your time. Not every opportunity is aligned for you. And this month sharpens that awareness. You start to see more clearly who drains you, what doesn't feel right, and where you've been overgiving. And instead of ignoring it, you start responding to it. You set boundaries. You pull your energy back. You choose differently, not from guilt, but from alignment. And this is where your life starts to feel lighter. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're no longer forcing yourself into things that don't fit. The third upgrade is emotional independence. And this is big, because a lot of people confuse intuition with needing reassurance. They think, if I feel unsure, I need to ask someone. If I feel uncomfortable, I must be doing something wrong. But when you lean into this energy, you realize you can feel uncomfortable and still be making the right decision. You can feel uncertain and still trust yourself. You can move forward without needing everybody else to agree. And that's power. That's self-leadership. That's what year one is actually asking of you. Not perfection, not certainty, but the ability to choose your path and stand in it. So if you've been waiting for a moment where everything feels clear, easy and guaranteed, this isn't that moment. This is the moment where you realize you don't need guarantees. You need self-trust. And the more you practice that this month, the more everything in your life starts to align with it. Now, let's bring things down to earth again. So let's make this really simple. If June is about intuition, clarity and self-trust, then your job this month isn't to figure more things out. It's to start moving with what you already know. And I'm going to give you 3 things to focus on that, if you actually do them, will change how you move through this entire month. The first is this: stop asking everyone else what you should do. I'm serious. Notice how often you go to someone else before making a decision. A friend, a partner, Google, even another video. And ask yourself, do I actually need this, or am I avoiding trusting myself? Because every time you outsource your decision, you reinforce the belief that someone else knows better than you, and that keeps you stuck. So this month, I want you to start catching that pattern. Pause before you ask. Check in with yourself first, because more often than not, you already know. The second thing is this: act on your first response faster. Not recklessly, but without dragging it out for days, weeks, or months. If something feels off, don't ignore it. If something feels right, don't overthink it. Move with it. Because the louder you delay, the louder your mind gets, and the further you move away from that clean, intuitive signal. So your focus isn't to be perfect, it's to be responsive, to actually do something with the clarity you're receiving. And the third thing, and this is the one most people avoid, is get comfortable with being misunderstood. Because when you start following your intuition, not everyone is going to agree with you. Not everyone is going to understand your decisions. Not everyone is going to like the boundaries you set. And if your default is to keep the peace, avoid conflict, or be liked, this is going to feel really uncomfortable. But this is the shift. From living for approval to living in alignment. So instead of asking, how do I make this easier for everyone else? Start asking, what is actually right for me? And let that be enough. Because the more you do that, the stronger your intuition becomes, the clearer your decisions get, and the less you rely on anyone else to tell you how to live your life. That's the work this month. Not more information, not more waiting, but movement. Aligned, self-led movement. So if you take anything away from this, let it be this. You're not confused. You're aware. You're just not used to trusting what you're seeing yet. And that's the shift June is asking of you. Not to become someone new overnight, but to stop ignoring the version of you that already knows. Because once you see something clearly, once you feel that misalignment, that truth, that inner knowing, you don't get to go back to not knowing. You can only choose what you do with it. You can either override it, delay it, talk yourself out of it, or you can listen. And that choice, that's what defines this month for you. Not what happens around you, but how you respond to what you already know. So if you've been waiting for clarity, if you've been asking for a sign, if you've been telling yourself you just need more time, this is it. This is your sign. Not to rush, not to panic, but to be honest enough with yourself to admit you already know what needs to change, and then start moving with it, even if it's small. Even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it's not perfect, because that's how self-trust is built. Not in theory, but in action. So if this landed for you, if you started to see where you've been overthinking, doubting yourself, or avoiding what you already know, don't just leave it here, because awareness without action is exactly why nothing changes. So first, make sure you hit subscribe and tap the notification bell, because this whole month is designed to walk you through rebuilding your self-trust, step by step. And in the next video is going to take you even deeper into actually acting on your intuition in real practical ways. And second, if you're ready to start applying this now, I've put something together for you. You can grab my free numerology quick guide in the description box below. It's going to help you understand your own blueprint, how you're designed to make decisions, and where you might be overriding your natural way of knowing. And if you're at a point where you're done sitting in indecision, where you're tired of knowing what to do but not doing it, then book a 30-minute strategy call with me. This is where we take everything that's coming up for you right now, the clarity, the confusion, the decisions, and we map out exactly how you move forward in a way that actually aligns with who you are. No more second guessing, no more waiting, just clarity, direction, and self-trust. So I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.